What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream, and today the latest Arsenal news as we're not far away now from Arsenal being back. The World Cup does finish this weekend, and then we are back to action in the Premier League next week. Big up for everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate it as always, and thank you to everyone who tuned in for the watch-alongs yesterday. Arsenal beating AC Milan and also Argentina. Argentina smashing Croatia last night as well. How amazing was Messi last night, by the way, people? 35 years of age, joint top scorer, joint top assist maker. That, for me, was the best assist of the tournament yesterday. What he did to that Vardiol, who's being rated as a £100 million player, got absolutely bodied by Messi. And listen, I think we're heading for one hell of a World Cup final. If France beat Morocco, as I do expect to happen, I think it's going to be an epic one. But yeah, he's kind of on a one-man mission at the moment to secure this GOAT status, but he's definitely doing a lot about it at the moment. Big up everyone in the chat. TM, hope you're well. Hope everyone is well. Jay Mystery said Messi, Vardy must be having nightmares. Maybe it was the mask. Maybe he couldn't see properly, but that was unbelievable. Messi made Vardy affordable. He did. I'm telling you, you get him for like 12 million today after what happened. Champions of Dubai, you'll never sing that. Nimbo, I love that one, I've been shouting that one everywhere. Big up yourself. Big up Oz, who said, big up Curtis, good to catch you live regarding Dusan. That ship has sailed. And I've seen some of you saying, it must be a slow news day if we're talking about him. There are genuine links. We are going to talk about it shortly. Big up Busy, who said, well, go on, Arsenal soon back. I mean, look, next weekend, it's Christmas. The day after, we're straight back to it. Arsenal obviously play this Saturday as well against Juventus, so we may see Dusan Vlahovic at the carpet this weekend, and obviously loads of tickets available. Arsenal keep sending emails, so that's when you know they're struggling to get rid of the tickets. Keeg said, we're still going to win the Premier League, Big C. I think a lot depends on what happens in January. I still believe Manchester City are favourites. But if we go for it in January, I think we give ourselves an opportunity, So anyway, we'll have to see. Big up everyone tuning in. Thank you very much for your support. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I will be live tonight, 6:45. For France against Morocco, so make sure you tune in for that as well. Just quickly, Ivan said, Curtis, as a Croatian, I'm sad but also proud. 4 million people live in Croatia, reached the semi-final 3 times. Unbelievable. Mudryk, he said he loves Mudryk as a player. Listen, Ivan, you can be very proud of Croatia. I can tell you something, the way they hype England and their players, and once again, Croatia have gone further with a pretty aging team as well. So yeah, I think Croatians should be very proud. I think they purely just ran out of steam yesterday. I don't think they had the energy to cope with Argentina. So yeah, definitely can be proud. Anyway, let's move on, people. Let's move on. Let's just briefly look back on yesterday with Arsenal. We are, and say this loud and clear, people, we are the champions of Dubai. Say it with pride. And don't play it down. We won the Dubai Super Cup, people. Forget the European Super Cup. We won the Dubai Super Cup with a 2-1 win yesterday against AC Milan. Over there in Dubai, excellent free kick from Martin Odegaard, who I thought was very good again, to be honest. Solargaard was thriving over there in the sun. And Reece Nelson got a goal, another decent finish from him, although there was a big deflection, to be honest. But he's had a good tour. And as I said, I'm having a bit of a laugh and a joke about this. I'm not going to be celebrating massively because we won a trophy mid-season. What I was more looking for with this competition was the performances, the sharpness, and the fringe players to get themselves going a little bit, which I think it has done. Mustafa said, quick question, how is Laurie doing? Will be talking cheap back soon. Yeah, Laurie should be back in the next 2 weeks. He's recovering, so hopefully before Christmas we will be back. But what I will say is I think some of the fringe players have done themselves no harm. I think Reece Nelson has done well on this tour. I think Fabio Vieira I didn't think was as good yesterday, I've got to be honest. I'm not going to do a player ratings, but just going to quickly skip through. Arsenal, 9 shots, 2 on target. Scored both their shots on target, 53% possession. Milan had 11 with 2 shots on target. to just quickly skip through the team, not going to do player ratings, but Cole Heinz ketchup, Heinz mayonnaise, Heinz beans. Once again, saucy performance from Cole Heinz. Saved a couple of penalties in the penalty shootout after the game, so his confidence will be sky high after this tournament. Thought Ben White looked a little bit rusty, but was steady, really. It's important for him to get minutes. I'm sure he'll play against Juventus as well. Rob Holding did okay, apart from one turn where Divock Origi sent him on holiday, but he came back in the stadium with his ticket. Apart from that, he was steady. I thought Gabriel did well. Tierney was solid. Odegaard, I thought, had a really good game. Sambi was steady. I thought he did all right. Thomas Partey looked a little bit rusty for me. Got nutmegged, gave the ball away a couple times, but was solid outside of that. 45 minutes, get him off the pitch. Just don't get him injured is the main thing. Fabio Vieira, for me, didn't play great. He did get an assist, so fair play to him. I've said it before and I'll say it again with Fabio Vieira. I think there's a very talented player in there. I don't think there's any doubt about that. You can see the way he manipulates the football. My problem with him is he strong enough? Or is he elusive enough that he can avoid situations where it has to kind of get physical? You need supreme balance and intelligence to get in those positions. Like Bernardo Silva and them play. A lot of small players, Santi Cazorla was small, not overly strong, but his balance and his understanding of positioning made him unbelievable on the football. So Vieira needs time. Ish said the treble's already in the bag. Orlando Cup, the Dubai Cup and the Emirates Cup. Treble moments, people. Vieira is a moments player. For me, he's got to get stronger. I know we joke about it, and I say, yeah, man, give him some hard food. He needs some rice and peas and dumpling. But I think he needs to get stronger. Because this is the Prem. The Premier League is unforgiving. And some players do come here, get bullied and get sent packing. So I think he needs to get a bit stronger and he needs more time to adjust. He probably needs to play in the first team, if you like, rather than that Europa League second string team. He needs the players that are probably on a similar wavelength to him, which is the better players, without being disrespectful. And he needs to get up to speed. Brilliant against Lyon, I thought. Not so good yesterday. Eddie played okay, worked his socks off, didn't get a goal, got a yellow card, so he probably won't be happy with that performance. But he was okay. Reece Nelson did well. Lively again, got himself a goal. And it will be interesting for Reece Nelson how much game time he gets, because I do think there is an opportunity for him at the moment. With Pepe going, we are a winger short at the moment. So I think Reece has had a good tour. I think out of the Arsenal players, he's probably one of the players that has benefited the most from this. E-Ross said, big up Curtis and C-Unit. Hope everyone is well. Big up yourself. Amo said, get on those weights. Listen, there are players that, I saw the documentary with Cristiano Ronaldo where, do you remember that summer when Ronaldo just came back and he looked like Action Man? All of a sudden, he went from some skinny winger to looking like, the Ken doll, like Ken and Barbie, abs, arms, shoulders, everything went mad. For me, I think Fabio Vieira needs to get stronger. He really does. Bellerin went vegan and got bullied, man, are saying. Man like Odegaard effing and jeffing for some of the dirty fouls. He's finally realised I'm the captain. Speak up. And it comes with time. I think with that armband, there is a certain responsibility to lead, whether you lead in the way you play, whether how you talk. Odegaard has to understand his role within this team now. And listen, I'm going to hold my hands up. I've been critical of Martin Odegaard at times, and I've always said it's not because of his talent. I've always believed he was very, very talented. His understanding of the game, his weight of pass. It's almost a compliment to him when I'm critical of him, because I think he can do even more. What I do respect about him is this season, he's getting goals, he's getting assists, and he's played well in some of the big games. So I think we're seeing a real improvement of Martin Odegaard this season. 6 Premier League goals already. I would expect 10 to 15 goals out of Odegaard this season, if we're being honest, which would be a fantastic return. Those best number 10s, they produce those kind of numbers. If you look at Kevin De Bruyne and people like that, Fabregas when he was at Arsenal, Gerrard and them guys there, So I think Odegaard is definitely improving. Patino did the same last year. Yep, needs to get stronger. Man said the Ken doll, I'm finished. Come on, man. You all know people. Will you ever do a video about your top 5 strikers, midfielders, wingers, defense? Yeah, why not? We could do that. Definitely be good interaction as well. Rashford bulked up too. Yep, looks a lot stronger. Remember when Bale came back looking hench. Goretzka, if you've seen the videos of him. Man's arms were massive after one summer. Oscar was the same body shape. Vieira needs to be more ruthless and dirty in his game. It will take him time. It will take him time to understand, but he needs to understand quickly. Premier League is unforgiving. You have 1 or 2 bad games in the Prem, the fan base will say, nah, he's not the answer. Bench him. We don't want him to start. Unfortunately, it's very unforgiving. He's talented, but can he handle it? Samuel said, being impressed by Carl Hein. If he can hit the same heights as Emi Martinez, then we are cooking. Jay Dime said, oh my God, Curtis, want to watch, but I got to go to watch my sons play. Hey, listen, that's what the replay is there for. Tune in later, man. Bayern players have the plug, Big C. They must have. I don't know what they're dealing with over there, but them man there get hench pretty quick. Now, strap yourselves in, get ready. Some of you will enjoy this conversation we're about to have. Some of you will be like, oh no, not again. It's not even January, and we're about to give you your first bit of daily Dusan. Now, I'm not going to go on about this for too long, and I'm only speaking about this because it's come from a friend of the show, of course. Man like Mr. Ben Jacobs has come out with this report about Dusan Vlahovic, and I think there's some credibility to the report. Let me tell you where I think it's credible and where I think it isn't. I think there's credibility in the fact that when you hear what he's saying, Dusan Vlahovic could leave Juventus. We're going to speak about it and I'm going to give you the insight. Where it's not overly credible is that it may not be Arsenal that actually go and sign him. So I'm going to give you the full story. I'm sure we'll put a poll up for this as well. And then get yourself involved. Give me your feedback on him. So Ben Jacobs have said, I'm told there is a very real possibility Dusan Vlahovic will leave Juventus in 2023. A January exit is not being ruled out by those close to him. Several top European clubs are in touch with his agent, including Chelsea, although nothing particularly advanced at this point. There is a little bit more. I'll just go through this and then I'll read your comments and maybe we'll get a poll out. Interested clubs are trying to first understand, first and foremost, how urgently or early Vlahovic is prepared to move and whether Juventus off-field troubles and new incoming board has changed anything in their favour. Vlahovic has 6 goals in 10 league games. He's denied he's unhappy playing under Allegri, but Juventus are open to cashing in, knowing that Champions League football is by no means guaranteed next season and they may face sporting sanctions due to an ongoing investigation into alleged false accounting. It remains to be seen whether Arsenal try again, having pushed hard in January to sign him from Fiorentina. Gabriel Jesus will naturally prompt links with strikers and some concrete enquiries too, but told nothing significant between Vlahovic and Arsenal just yet. So, where the story is kind of like, has a bit of meaning and maybe not. Juventus, their board, 4 of their board members have quit. They falsified information to get around financial fair play. There was an investigation. It's come to light that they've, handed in false paperwork, and there's an investigation. The investigation states Juventus may get a very big fine at the end of the season. They could even be relegated to Serie B, but the reports say it's more than likely it'll be a big fine. Now, they've dropped out of the Champions League this season. They're coming into the Europa League with us. They're not in a Champions League position at the moment for next season. And they're facing a hefty fine they are going to have to sell. And according to the report, Vlahovic is one of the easiest players for them to sell because he's a striker, he's highly rated, and people would sign him. Chelsea apparently at the front of the queue with Brozier doing his ACL. He's out all season. Aubameyang probably hasn't been the solution for them. Now, I want to ask you the question. You know what this poll is going to say, but I want to give you a little bit of insight into my opinion and what you think. Let's look at this from 2 points of view. On one hand, we need a striker. Vlahovic is a quality striker. He's a target man. beggars can't be choosers. In reality, he would be a very good option for Arsenal to sign. He's tall, he's different. We need a striker. You're not going to get many quality strikers available in January. That's 50% of the argument. The other 50% of the argument, this guy pied us. Not only pied us, they were borderline embarrassing us last January. The way his agent was saying they're ignoring our phone calls. They treated us like dirt. It was like going up to the girl in the nightclub. She's not interested. She's pied you off. She's seen you 6 months later, sitting at a table with 8 bottles of champagne, 4 bottles of Ciroc vodka, and 3 bottles of Hennessy, sparklers all over the place in your Gucci t-shirt and your Rolex watch. And all of a sudden, she's twerking around your table for the move. You know, she's saying, oh, the lighting wasn't good that night. I didn't see you properly. I was seeing someone at the time. She's giving it all that. But now, there's sparklers all over the table. She can't get enough. It's all forgiven. Are you prepared to forgive? Or is it too little too late? Have you got too much pride and the Gucci t-shirt and the 15 bottles on the table, you're still not prepared to go there? She's had her chance. You've moved on. You're looking elsewhere, people. I want to know how shameless the C-Unit community is with this poll. I'm going to put the poll up. Vlahovic to Arsenal in January. Is all forgiven from your point of view? Beggars can't be choosers. He's a great option. Or was the embarrassment too much? The way they, rejected us last time, people. So, Vlahovic to Arsenal in January. Yes or no? It is an interesting one. It is an interesting one. And he's been misbehaving off the pitch. Apparently sleeping with the Serbian second-choice goalkeeper's girlfriend. So he's not behaving himself. I want to hear what you're saying. Let's get into your comments. I can already see some bad ones here. Lay said we are desperate, but that desperate question mark. Kay said if she's a 10 out of 10, I'm shameless. I said, I don't care, man. All is forgiven. King Henry said, big up Curtis in the community from work. Effing counting all stocks. I hate that. Oh, man, it's got to be done. Martin said a 10 is a 10 at the end of the day, Big C. What are you saying? It don't matter how you get there, Martin, as long as it's a 10. Sky Touche said, Big C, I'll take Dusan and Mudryk and cash in on Smith Rowe. Wow. That came out of nowhere. Man's trying to sell Smith Rowe, yeah? Christian's cracking up. Dusan the twerker. Man said, yo, it's all mad. What if she bags 15 goals? She saw the Lambo car key. She, hold on, what's that? Lamborghini? I thought you had a Vauxhall. Okay, it's all changed now. Love your comparison. Someone said I need that trophy. People will take the Premier League at all costs, innit? See, the thing is, we're all, do you know football fans, we're all fickle. You've seen me. I'm as shameless as they come, people. Me, my opinion is I wouldn't sign him. But if you could look into a crystal ball and you said to me, if you sign Vlahovic, he scores 12 goals, 14 goals, and you win the title, I'm signing him all day long. I don't care how many times they rejected the phone calls. If we're lifting, if Odegaard's showing his armpits at the end of May, lifting the Premier League trophy, then damn, I don't care how it happens, even if they did reject us in the first place. But we don't know. I'm with Vlahovic, I've always been kind of like, how good is he really? I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, I feel like Giroud might be better than him as a target man. I don't know. I could be getting it completely wrong. Anybody who watches Serie A, watches Italian football, how good has he been at Juventus? Chris said, by any means necessary. Malcolm X settings, man. By any means necessary. Arteta's duty tax-free said, get that desperate girl out. The bouncers are escorting her out. I said, get her away from me. I didn't pay for this move. I don't know you. Haaland versus Vlahovic. Something different for our already potent attack. Let's use each other, says Renzo. Damn. You're on that, yeah. Amaro said, Big C, your show keeps my afternoon lively doing home office here in Switzerland. Big up yourself. Anthony said, Malcone X has returned. By any means necessary, people. Amo said, I would take Giroud back. Now, it's interesting. You take Giroud back. Giroud actually, he trolled us when he went to Chelsea, putting up that Europa League picture and all the things he was saying. So it is interesting. It is. We're shameless. We're shameless. We've been through so much over the last few years. We'll take that Premier League trophy by any means, I think. Shane said, Big C, what's your ideal striker you want to see at Arsenal realistically? I mean, look, I want somebody that's got physical presence, which he does have that. I don't want somebody really that's small, that plays similar to Jesus. I want a plan B. I would like us to sign Ivan Toney. I've said it many times, but if he's going to get banned for this betting scandal, then you can't sign him. No one's going to sign him. Listen, Vlahovic would be a good option if you're looking at him purely as a footballer. Mustafa said, I just want Arsenal to sign players that want to play and fight. He's a fantastic striker. I don't think he will have the passion. It's one of them, innit? Listen, I think when you look at it, he didn't want to come to us. He really didn't want to join us, right? Because if he respected Arsenal, he wouldn't have allowed his agent to said what he just said. He would have said to his agent, listen, say no, but be respectful, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe I want to go to the Prem and play for Arsenal. He looked at us at the time, 5th, 6th in the Premier League. He was going to Juventus, top of Italy, or in the top 4, in the Champions League. And he was thinking, that's the little side piece. I don't want nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? But now they've had some surgery and sorted things out. All of a sudden, Arsenal looks attractive to him now. It's a difficult one. I've said many times that I believe Arsenal need to go away from signing players that don't really want to be here, because I think sometimes you can sign quality players that don't want to be there. You don't get the best out of them, and ultimately, man are saying Arsenal had a BBL. I'm telling you, all sorts went off in the summer. Champar said, let's not be emotional. Business is business. I'm going to be honest. It's a tough one, because I'm so caught up with this one, because on one hand, we've got absolutely no right to turn down a striker like that in the position we're in. We're currently starting with Eddie and Nketiah up front. So who the hell am I to say I wouldn't sign Vlahovic? But I just don't think you get him. I don't think you get a fully focused guy. I don't. I really don't. I don't think his mind would be in the right place. I think it's like you've forced him to be there. Juve have binned him, and he's at Arsenal, and he never really wanted to be here. He's just come here for the bag. So, but you've got to give me an alternative. I'm not going to lie. If you said Eddie or Vlahovic, I'm taking Vlahovic. But I would rather sign somebody else, if I'm being honest. I would try my best to sign somebody else. I know what you're saying, business is business, but football has an element of emotion attached to it, I think, to perform, I think sometimes you can go to a job and not like it, but you might perform there just because you want to make money in business. But I think football as a player, you've got to move country, you've got to play in that league, do interviews, move your family. I think there is an element of emotion in football as well. I mean, if we sign him again, I'd be shameless with it, Ziggy said Element wanted to be there, now he won't leave. Element wanted to be there, to be here, now he won't leave. Who are we talking about here? Element. I'm confused here. I think he's probably meant to put someone else, but... Big C, can you imagine Serbia v Albania in the locker room with Xhaka? Oh, El Neni. El Neni didn't... Listen, El Neni loves it at Arsenal, man. El Neni never wants to leave. Big up my bro Akeem in the chat as well. I missed your comment, bro. I missed it. I think, did I click on it? He'd clashed with Arteta, says Nomad. Prima Donna, pass. It only takes one to ruin the dressing room. That's the thing. Akeem said we need to capitalise on being 5 points clear. We need to make the most of our summer signings now. I would say this. Having watched Argentina in this World Cup, and someone just mentioned him. I think it was South London's Finest just mentioned him. You look at Julian Alvarez. I mean, he looks a heck of a player. He looks a heck of a player. That's their second choice striker. That's their number 2 striker. They got Haaland in front of him. He's first choice. He's benched Lautaro Martinez, by the way. So I'm looking at it going, we've got to do something. If their 2 strikers are Julian Alvarez and Haaland, we can't get near that. This is my concern. I've always said this season, right? If Manchester City turn the heat up, they'll burn everybody. I don't think anybody can live with them if they turn the heat up. But where we might have an opportunity is that I feel like Pep's got one eye on that Champions League. He might take his foot off the gas slightly in the Premier League. We might be able to take advantage of it. Because our midweek game in the Europa League is not going to be as challenging as Manchester City playing a Champions League knockout game, where they've got to go full strength. We can probably rotate and make it a little bit easier. We're out of the Carabao Cup as well. So my thing would be this. I'm going to be totally honest, right? I think Vlahovic is a good player and would definitely improve our team. Because of the circumstances, I would try and get somebody else ahead of him. That's my honest opinion, right? I would be trying to sign someone else because 1, I don't think he really wants to be here. 2, he sounds like he's a bit of a troublemaker. And, you know, he was disrespectful, I felt, towards the club. However, if you got to that bottom of that list and there ain't no better option and he's the only one there, you know, maybe you look at it, if I'm being honest. But for me, I would try and get people ahead of him. And listen, let's face it, you ain't getting him for pennies. Juventus aren't just handing him over and saying, oh, we're broke, take him for 30 mil. They're probably going to want their money back. They paid 67 million for him. So you're still talking about big money. For 67, 70 million, you can probably go and get João Felix. For 80 million, you can probably go and get Osimhen. So I think for the money he would cost, there's better alternatives, would be my opinion. From a footballing point of view, we've got no right, really, to turn him down. But I think you can get better players for the money when you consider everything about him. The guy's sleeping with his teammate's girlfriend. You know, he sounds like a bit of a scumbag to me. It only takes one problem in the dressing room, and the whole dressing room gets flipped on its head. And I think right now, our dressing room is the reason that we're top of the league, because I don't think there are any bad eggs in that dressing room. But let's see what you got to say. Sky Touche said, Big C Vlahovic scored over 20 goals back-to-back in Serie A. Oh, my days, that's where... But then, like you said, Lautaro, what I've seen of him in the World Cup, not necessarily in a rush to sign him. That's the only thing I would say. He's looked horrible in this World Cup. Big C, the alternative, the better alternative to bring back Balogun. I mean, we've spoken about this before. For me, you leave Balogun. I would leave Balogun in France. He's developing. He starts every week. I think you bring him back to Arsenal. As soon as Jesus comes back, he's getting dropped. And then he sits on the bench for the rest of the season. And plus, is he really ready to take that responsibility and lead the line in the Premier League for Arsenal? You know, I'd leave Balogun in France, bring him back in the summer. Brazy said, Big C, just get Mudryk, a.k.a. the best YouTube baller ever, and João silk baller Felix and call it a day. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For me, there's better options for those sort of price. Let me just give you the second part of the story, because, you know, there is a second part. Ryan Taylor's done an article today in the Daily Express, and he is saying that the Dusan Vlahovic ship has now sailed from Arsenal's perspective. The club became agitated with the way they were overlooked by Vlahovic's inner circle during their attempts to secure the move, having failed to respond to Arsenal's calls. Yeah, what? You want to leave us on blue tick, yeah, on WhatsApp? Yeah, you want to leave us on blue tick? All their messages, blue ticks galore, no response. Nah, we don't want to go Arsenal. There's some side dish. Coleslaw and beans settings. Now everything's gone wrong. I'm on my WhatsApp. Yeah, Edu's on his WhatsApp. Dusan Vlahovic typing. Man's typing the message now. Oh, you want to respond now, yeah? All right, cool. Big up Edu. I like it. Edu. They're twerking for us now, yeah? All right, cool. Leave him. Leave him there. That's what I'm on. Leave him there, yeah? Want to leave me on blue tick? Yeah, all right, cool. You stay over there. We might even block that number. This is all we're seeing, Anthony. Typing, ... Bare typing going off. Leave him over there. We're good. Sam. We're good, bro. We just won the Dubai Cup. Life is good right now. We're living the high life. I'm seeing armpits all over the place. We're lifting trophies. Leave Juventus. Juventus are scrapping around in Italy. They could be getting relegated. They could be getting, financial hit, and they're trying to sell players. You stay over there in that mess, man. I'm cool, bro. I'm cool. We don't need you no more. We'll look elsewhere. Our options are open now. We can go Harrods and buy Gucci and buy Louis V. We're good. We're not on the TK Maxx sales section anymore. So leave him over there, man. You keep typing away, fella. Yeah, I'm not interested. We got plenty of options right now, people. I'm telling you, that's how I feel about it. Leave him over there, man. See how your season ends up, bro. You know what I mean? Let me end the poll. But I like the comments. 53% say no, 47% say yes. Woo! So nearly half of you would take him. And I understand why. I do understand why, because some people will just look at it as, listen, I don't care about the personal issue. He's a very good striker. We need a striker. If you can get him, take him. That's what I think people are saying. So I do understand it. But sometimes you got to put your morals have to be higher than your need, Akeem said we need a gunman up top who can score, something different to Jesus. Felix ain't that guy either. I hear you. Listen, and I've said this many times and I won't hide from this. Gabriel Jesus has been brilliant for Arsenal this season. But I never hide from the fact that strikers who don't score goals, I can only praise you so much. The only striker I kind of ever let get away with that was Firmino at Liverpool, because he had two wingers that got 25 goals. So he didn't actually need to score that many goals. But with Gabby Jesus, there's going to be games this season where Jesus has to score the winner. They might shut Martinelli and Saka down, and it's down to you. You're the striker. You're 45 million. You're 200 grand. You're the Brazilian international. That's what you were brought in for. There's certain days you're supposed to win us the game. So there is going to be days where he's got to hit the back of the net. As much as he's great, there's got to be days where he makes it happen. Bring in Cristiano, said OGDB. Oh, Suey to the carpet, people. Free transfer. Dear. Duma said, my initial reaction was I'd take him, but after hearing the points you've raised, I think I'd steer clear of the man. Dusan is typing, people. Dusan is typing. Just bring CR7 in, man. Get him in. We'll rescue him for 6 months, man. He hates Man United now as well. Do you know what? I think Ronaldo is actually waiting for offers. That's why he hasn't joined this club in Saudi Arabia, because he's desperate to get a decent move. Ronaldo wouldn't come to Arsenal. I think he would come to Arsenal. I don't think Arteta would sign Ronaldo. I don't think there's any chance. Some of you saying you would take him. Daily Suey. I have to admit, from a purely selfish point of view, in terms of content creator, I would absolutely love Arsenal to sign Ronaldo from a content point of view. Like, can you imagine the stuff that he would be saying and doing in interviews and stuff? And if he actually did start bagging, the shamelessness would be outrageous. Just quickly skipping through this article because he makes a few points here. Ryan Taylor in this article, which I wanted to just share with you all. He was saying here that Fulham remain interested in Cedric Suarez, but he said this. Where was this other bit that he said? Right, here we go. So he said he understands that while Mudryk is undoubtedly Arsenal's primary attacking target, the club are also open-minded about the prospect of signing a centre-forward to ease the burden on Eddie Nketiah in the absence of first-choice striker Gabriel Jesus. Now, when I've read this full article, there's a little bit more as well. He's saying that it's 50-50 on Mudryk. There's still a belief that Shakhtar Donetsk are going to price him out of the move. That if they're asking for nearer to 70 million, that the deal won't be able to be done. Arsenal would probably buy him if they can get it at around 50 million. Wasim, I was thinking the same thing. Ease the burden on Eddie. I mean, I think I prefer not to speak, because if I speak, I'm in big trouble. Forget easing the burden on Eddie. Take the burden away from Eddie completely. He can't hold that responsibility on his shoulders. But I do like this. I like the fact that Arsenal are saying, right, if we can't find a winger that ticks the boxes, let's go and get the striker. Now, what I'll be interested to know is what striker would Arsenal go for? What I didn't like was the fact the other day we were being linked with Jonathan David, who, for me, what I saw in the World Cup, keep him away. You know what I mean? Man said Eddie is the burden. Eddie is the burden. Forget he's the burden. And listen, there's a few of you in the comments saying you'd take Ronaldo, by the way, which I think we've had this debate. I've had it a few times, actually. Gunasaurus said, I think signing CR7 is perfect. He is humbled now because he has experience being dropped from club and international football and the fact nobody wants him. So basically, he's saying he's desperate. David is mid as well. Yeah. Jonathan David, to me, looked trash in that World Cup. You know, I know he's playing for Canada. It's not easy maybe for him to shine in that team, but I didn't even like the way he was playing. Omid said, never judge a player from the World Cup. I understand what you're saying. Anyone suggesting CR37 should be ashamed of themselves, says Matt. Listen, I hear what you're saying, but desperate times, desperate measures, man. Ronaldo or Eddie? You know, North London derby away from home. Who would you rather was up front? But listen, again, we got to find better options, if we're being honest. Brazy said a 26-year-old Giroud would be great. Get the hair gel back. Listen, he would be great. Although Giroud seems better now than when he was 26. Kyle said, Shakhtar CEO on Mudryk. To be honest, I don't know if he will be sold. At the moment, we are quite far from what we want and what clubs propose. It's not so far, but it is not what we need, which is always the worry. Because for me, if you're talking 60, 70 million for this guy, Mudryk, I'm walking away. I've got to be honest. I don't think we should be breaking the bank for him. 50 million is more than reasonable, in my opinion, for him. So this is the only thing. But it's just going to be interesting. If Arsenal don't get Mudryk and they don't feel there is a winger there, what striker are they going to look at? Which is for me why I've said many times, I think they should be looking at cheaper alternatives like Depay and like Zaha. I got to be honest. I think they tick boxes. Financially, they don't ruin you. And they're players that can be moved on in 18 months if you're not happy. And that's why I think they make so much sense that Arsenal won't go anywhere near them. They'll probably go and spend 50 million on Jonathan David. Or something stupid like that. Go and get Zaha for 20 million. Play him left wing, play him through the middle, or play Martinelli through the middle. Give him 18 months, 2 years. If he ends up being a squad player next year, then so be it. Memphis Depay, 5 million. Makes pure sense, but we won't go anywhere near these players. And I think, listen, João Felix is an interesting one. Like Akeem just said in the comments, my one problem with him has always been, is he going to bag? Is he going to score? You know, if we're signing a striker for 70, 80 million, I need goals. I need you to be the difference maker, you know? And I've not... Is it because he plays for Atletico and the style of football has held him back? I genuinely believed when he was at Benfica he could be a gunman goal scorer. But having watched him at Atletico, the goals seem to have dried up. So is he the answer or not? I'm not sure. But it will be interesting. It will be interesting. CR7 or Sherman, the goat or the donkey? Dear. You said it, not me, Nelson. If people come for me in the comments, I'm just reading the comments out. J Dime said Zaha makes too much sense. Yeah, it makes so much sense. We won't go anywhere near it. Sign Curtis Shaw TV has potential. Hey, why not? Hey, how about Mbolo? He's very physical. Looks decent. He always seems to do well in the World Cup, but any other time I watch him, he's not that great. Let's get into a few of your comments. Mel Malaysian Guna said, we're complaining about Vieira being lightweight. Now we want Felix. Make it make sense. It's a good point. He is lightweight and he's not prolific, but I think we just want somebody that's a bit exciting, that's got a big name. It's desperation. You know, he's probably not the ideal player to sign João Felix, but he's. It seems like Arsenal like him, and it seems like he's available. Southern Guna said, "Morning, Big C. We got to stop splashing on potential versus proven goal scorers. The pie for a bag of chips makes perfect sense. 5 million is a bag of chips for Arsenal. Let's be real. Memphis Depay is so that's so cheap. Yeah, there'll be wages, but you know, Arsenal will go for someone else." Brazy said, "Big C, look at João at the World Cup in a more attacking and creative system. He thrives. Him at Atleti is like putting Tottenham in a final. It doesn't make sense." I hear you. Rahul said Zaha and Depay both for 35 million would be perfect. You could get those two for less than what you're going to get Mudryk, less than João Felix, you know. But it is what it is. Mr. Fix-It said, "I think Zaha is the best possible transfer. Will cause problems when we need to move on." Oh, won't cause problems when we need to move on. Arsenal have made 5 million from those friendlies. They probably have. Hal B said, "Don't worry, Curtis. Liverpool will look at him and agent Virgil van Dijk with Memphis Depay, of course." Just quickly, a bit of afternoon waffle, people, from Mikel Arteta. There was a brief press conference after the game yesterday as Arsenal were capped as the Dubai Super Cup champions. And by the looks of it, he cannot believe it. Look at that. That's the face of a man who doesn't understand what's just happened. But we have completed an epic and a historic treble. Haters will say it doesn't count, but it is what it is. The Florida Cup joined the Emirates Cup, and now the Dubai Super Cup. Oh no, he's in the chat, people. Dusan Vlahovic is here. He said, "My agents never told me you was interested, Kurt." Oh dear. Dusan is typing, people, on WhatsApp. It's epic. Niall, we are doing a watch-along tonight, 6:45, France-Morocco, of course, and we'll do the World Cup final on Sunday, and we'll be doing Arsenal against Juventus Saturday. I won't be doing the third-place playoff, though. You know, I don't like doing watch-alongs of games I'm not interested in, you know. Lord Panda said we should consider Antonio in the summer. Antonio, are we talking Antonio from West Ham? I think he's past his best now. He's in his 30s, man. They're trying to replace him at West Ham, so I'm not sure he's the answer for us. "Save me, please," said Dusan. Champions of Dubai, you'll never sing that. Anyway, let's hear what Mikel Arteta had to say as we completed another trophy in the cabinet. On his confidence in our younger players to see us through the final stages, he said, "If we want to develop players, you have to expose them to different contexts." And today, I thought it was a perfect contest to understand how they can compare. Even though they are really young, we have to put them in those scenarios so that they can develop. Oh, man saying Griezmann, my bad. What's that? It's because his name's Antoine Griezmann, so you threw me off calling him Antonio Griezmann. Fair enough. I think Griezmann's just signed back for Atletico on a permanent, so he's going to be expensive, and he's about 30 now. Chris said, "How is Jesus different from Lacazette as both barely scoring goals?" I would say that Jesus is way more difficult to play against. He is creating chances, although not scoring them, I can't lie. And I think because the wingers are now scoring goals, we're getting away with it, with him not scoring. When Lacazette wasn't scoring, the wingers weren't scoring, so it all looked a mess, you know. Chris is a Man United fan, by the way. Chris, heard that Jadon Sancho's all over the place, my friend. He's been sent abroad to get fit, to clear his mind. Hasn't been allowed back to the Man United training ground. It's all going mad. I only brought that up because I felt like you was, trolling Arsenal a little bit, Chris. So I had to throw that in. But listen, get well soon, Jadon Sancho, because apparently he's going through some stuff as well. So, yeah, I'm not actually joking about that. Tony will be betting off the bench. Yeah, listen, I'd love to get Ivan Toney in, but, there'll be Ladbrokes, there'll be betting companies all over the Emirates. On Ben White playing again, he said, "I'm very pleased. Everybody has been giving him a lot of support and love, which is what he needed. You know the reasons why he had to leave the camp, and we are delighted to have him back and have him in really good shape." Now, that is interesting. Has he just confirmed then that what was being said by the media was actually true, because he's saying, you know, the reasons why he had to leave the camp. And that is interesting. And a lot of people, including myself, were saying maybe this isn't actually true, but maybe it is the case then. He wasn't getting on well with the coach, and he had a big argument. Fran will be on soon, definitely. I spoke to him last week, so hopefully we get him on in the next couple of weeks, hopefully before Christmas. I think Arteta just spilled the beans, people. You know the reasons. You know the reasons why he had to leave the camp. Well, listen, I'm taking it. Confirmed. I'm running with it. Clickbait. Mikel Arteta just confirms that Ben White did have an argument with the assistant manager and wasn't getting on well with players in the England camp. I'm running with it. Clickbait settings, people. Nah, listen. But it sounds as if he is confirming that was probably the case. So, no, it's we. Typo, said PG. Okay, fair enough. Francesco Daily Dusan is back, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. He's been linked with us. Blame Ben Jacobs, but we ain't going to talk about it too long. In fact, I've already spoken about it. So, anyway, let's move on. On Thomas Partey returning, he played a lot at the World Cup. Obviously, he was disappointed at the way that he had to leave, but it happens to every nation when they go out. It takes a few days to reset and focus on the team. The good thing we have is that everyone has been showing they are desperate to get back. They want to be ready as quickly as possible. It was great to have those two back playing minutes. I mean, the good thing is now, you look at the World Cup, Saliba is now the only Arsenal player that is at the World Cup. And he's played for 20 minutes. He's basically been on holiday in Qatar for a month. So he's probably going to have more energy than when he left. He spilt the cones, says Chris. The cones have been spilt. Jay Dime said Ben White seems like an awkward guy. Oh, listen, we don't know. I don't know. I've never really heard much about him. You spent nearly almost 40 minutes talking about Dusan the wife snatcher. Let's move on anyway, people. And when he thinks he'll have the rest of our players back, he said that will take a few more days. Granit is already here and he's training and he's willing to participate on the weekend. So we don't have that many away now. That is a positive. I mean, Xhaka, one thing I'll say, he looks bang on it this season, man. Like, other players look like they're on holiday and stuff. Xhaka's gone straight there, training, saying, let me play straight away. Can't get enough of it. On his assessment of the trip, we have to raise the standards. We discuss things we are doing really well. It's not a coincidence the way we've been forming. If we want to challenge at the top, we have to improve. We've been lucky because we brought a lot of the kids here. That what they have done is not only maintain the standards, but increase them. So I want to say thank you so much to them. They've been key in this camp to have a successful period in the competition. And listen, look at Nwaneri, he's 15, going on tour with Arsenal. To us, this is some meaty little mid-season trophy no one really cares about. But if you're a 15, 16, 17-year-old, you're on a first-year pro at Arsenal, this will mean a lot to you. I've just gone to Dubai on tour with the first team manager. I've got minutes. I might have scored a penalty in a penalty shootout. I've got my winner's medal. It will mean a lot to a young player. So, fair play. It's a great experience for them. Nomad, thank you for the super chat. If all else fails, how do the strikers in the youth system look? It worked for Saka. Lightning might strike twice. Desperate times, desperate measures. The problem with Arsenal's best strikers, the best strikers in the youth team, are pretty much on loan. Balogun, John Jules, and Eddie were the three, really. So, from what I've heard, I don't think there is like a young striker that's really ripping it up. So, I'm not sure if there is an option there for us to bring through. On whether he has chatted to Ben White yet, I mean, what kind of question is that, by the way? Ben White's been training with the team for 2 or 3 days. He's playing a game. He's just played a game and... Oh, have you spoke to him? Nah, mate, I haven't said a word to him. I didn't even know he was here. Oh, yeah, he's starting at right back, mate. So, of course, he spoke to him. Buenos Aires Guna says, Buenos dias, Curtly in the community. I'm sure he had a late night last night celebrating. Tomiyasu, I believe, went to Dubai, but I think he was holidaying. So, whether we see him at the weekend or not. He said, I've been having conversations with every single player that went to the World Cup to understand where they are. Not only me, but all the players and staff are trying to give support when someone needs it. Benny Blanco. Going crazy. Ben White is arrogant, said DJ Sweets. Who told you that? The media, or do you know him personally? No, listen, I'm just saying what people were saying in the comments. People were saying they thought he was awkward. Some people have said he's arrogant. I think it's very difficult to make that kind of judgment without knowing them personally. A lot of footballers are misjudged. And listen, maybe he just wanted to be back at Arsenal. As I was saying yesterday, a lot of players don't deal well with not playing. England might have been the first environment where Ben White has been sitting on the bench, and he might not be used to it. Big up Alfred with the super chat. Hope you're well, bro. He said, not going to cap. If I was Ben White, Maddison, Trent, I would have left. Most of them was brought to fill the roster. Sterling left, still came back and played. Listen, and this is why I don't rate Southgate. Trent is creatively, we can talk about him defensively all day long. He's not amazing. But going forward creatively, he's the best right back in England. Doesn't get a sniff. Maddison created more chances than any English player in 2022. Didn't kick a ball. Went there as a backup dancer. And Ben White, been the best right back in England this season, probably with Reece James. He's there for no reason. There's too much favouritism with Southgate, which is why, personally, I would move him on as manager. Sweet said, no, brother Curtis, didn't mean you, bro. It was one of the so-called supporters I was chatting to. No problem. And I hear you. It's always... It's dangerous to make judgments of people when we don't know them. We all do that sometimes. You look at the way they act, but sometimes they're totally different, man. On Morocco's manager, Walid Regragui, attending a tactical seminar Mikel gave last year. The impact he's having is a total credit to them. What he's doing is amazing. And what he is transmitting is back is great. And it's a really positive thing for the football world to have an African team at the stage. They're one of 4 very select teams in this World Cup. So they're giving Arteta credit. Arteta did a seminar and the Moroccan manager was in this seminar. So, I think they're trying to give Arteta a little bit of credit for Morocco getting to the semi-final. Matt Taylor said Ivan Toney and Amrabat from Morocco, they would be 2 great signings. Amrabat's looked like a tank in this tournament. Ivan Toney, obviously, it depends whether he gets banned or not. On Stories questioning Ben's character, he said, we can't control that, but I know who Ben is, what he needs and what his character is, and how happy we are to all have him at the club. So fighting talk from Arteta. On whether it matters that we won the trophy, he said, it is about trying to get everybody with the same purpose and objective. We have to refocus everybody because the World Cup is a big distraction. You have to pay it respect because it's a huge competition. But for us at club level, we still have a lot of things to do in the season. We got to go and try and lift that trophy, people. Arteta taught him all he knows. Careful about World Cup hype. It's interesting, and you're right. On one hand, a player can go to the World Cup, perform badly. Like, for example, I'm talking... Tielemans has been horrible. Jonathan David's been poor. There's others. Lautaro Martinez has been poor. Lukaku had a stinker. There are players who've gone to this World Cup who've been poor that would still be good players to sign at club level. As I was speaking about this yesterday, it's all about environment. This is a very different style of football. It's much slower. They may not play the same way club teams play. On the flip side, players like Yunus Musa, like Amrabat, other players, some of these guys have looked great, but might not actually be that good. Don't get me wrong, you could sign Amrabat and he's just as good. On the flip side, it's very difficult to judge players purely based on the World Cup. Kyle said Balogun is better than Jonathan David. I mean, not far off him in numbers this season. Noel said Dumfries looks quality international level, but club level, he is dreadful. Ziyech has looked fantastic in this World Cup. A lot of people wouldn't want him based off what he's done at Chelsea. Lautaro Martinez got a very good start this season after 4 or 5 games, very poor. Christian said, Curtis, what about Patrick Schick? It's an interesting one with him. I think Leverkusen have just said many times that they won't sell him. And Diaby, who's the French winger, I think they want like 70-odd million for him. Big C, prime Suarez or Van Persie? I would say prime Luis Suarez. I think at one point he was the world's best striker. So I'd say prime Louis. I don't like him. He's a bit of a scumbag, but in terms of footballer, can't deny it. Gunasaurus said Liverpool signed Salif Diao and El Hadj Diouf from a good Senegal World Cup campaign. Both were flops. Buenos Aires said, Curtis, bro, did you see Dybala come on yesterday? I almost threw up my beer. I couldn't believe it. I was delighted. I was delighted. It was a great moment for me seeing him come on. What a player. I just wanted the goal so we got the celebration. But, yeah, man, it was good to see him get on. Schick's on a 5-year deal, apparently. Let's finish this bit of waffle from the Coman. Coman music. On if a player at the World Cup has caught his eye, he said, there are a few national teams as well. A lot of things they are doing and very interesting, and it shows where the game is going, where it is evolving. But as for players, I'll keep that to myself. So we'll have to see what players have caught his attention. And who he goes for. Dybala is a baller, says Mel. On the plans for the transfer window, he said, we are looking and we are active in the possibilities. If we can find the players that will strengthen the team, we will try. Now, I'm gonna really nitpick at this because that's what we do this for, people. They say don't do that, but that's what we do it for. I like the fact that there is an S on the end of that word. Players. I don't want a player. I want players. That inspires me a little bit, right? What I don't like are the last 3 words. I don't want to read this. We will try. I don't want to hear those words. I want to hear we will. Take try off. There's no excuse to try and fail. You're top of the league. You've got money. You're in the Prem. Players want to come here. There's no reason to try. You don't need to try. Accomplish. Success. Yes. There are the words that I want to hear. This is what the mindset needs to be. I don't want to hear we will try. I heard we'll try last January. I heard Arsene Wenger, if we can find a player that improves, we will do it. And then we don't sign anyone. We get linked with Rabiot on deadline day and nobody joins us. I heard that for 10 years under Wenger. I don't want to hear we'll try. Sign the damn player. But I like the fact he's saying players. So it's 50-50 basically, innit? Try? No. Players? Yes. That's what I want to hear. Do it or you don't do it. When your mum says, will you go shop and get me some milk? You don't say, well, I'll try. You get licks for that, bro. You say, yeah, I will. And that's all it needs to be. Wenger sure always pops up every now and then, You know how it goes, people. Can't help it. Ramon said that's a standard reply. Listen, I understand. It's politician talk, which is why I call it waffle settings, because, Arteta is the ultimate politician when it comes to football in press conferences, man. He's the king of it. Let's get into a few comments before we round up. Nearly 2,000 of you in the chat. Brilliant support as always. Really appreciate it. Considering we've had the World Cup and no Arsenal really for a while, transfers haven't really kicked in yet, the support on the channel's been outstanding. We've still got great numbers on the watch-alongs. And looking forward to this week. We've got the semi-final tonight. Join me for that watch-along tonight. 6:45, France-Morocco. On Saturday, we've got Arsenal against Juventus. We might see Vlahovic at the carpet and Locatelli and then man there. So that should be a good game. A lot of the players will be back from the World Cup. And then on Sunday, the World Cup final. And then on Monday, we're just going to be building up to next, the game. We'll be 8 games away, 8 days away, rather, from Arsenal against West Ham in the Premier League. So we're nearly there, people. It's exciting times now. Looking forward to it. Cult following. People are saying, listen, unbelievable support. And I always like to reiterate how much I appreciate the support of all of you, man. Absolutely brilliant. I am going to do a member stream before Arsenal's game against West Ham. With the season, with the World Cup finishing and all of that, and I want to get your thoughts and opinions. So if anyone is a member or wants to become a member, jump in that and have your say. Let's see what he's saying. Milan said, if you love cereal, you just buy the milk. You don't try to buy the milk, you just buy the milk. Looking forward to the World Cup final, Rowan. I am. I think, without sounding harsh, I think Argentina-France is the blockbuster final. Argentina-Morocco would still be good because of the passion, but I think it's a heavyweight clash if we get Argentina-France, Mbappe against Messi would be outrageous. Matthew said we shouldn't touch Vlahovic with a 10-foot pole. Elliot says, member stream. Are you going to the Juventus game? I don't think so. I don't think I am at the moment. I think we're going to stick to the watch-along. You know what it is? I'll be honest with you. It's the weather. The weather's putting me off, man. It's so cold at the moment. I just don't fancy sitting in that stadium for 90 minutes watching football. I know, listen, you can wrap up, but I'd rather stay in the house, stay warm, watch the game, do a watch-along and just relax. If the weather was a little bit better, possibly I would have gone to it. Would have preferred Portugal v Argentina, but hey, wasn't to be, man. Alfred said you make it easy to be supported. Appreciate that, bro. Thank you very much. Henan Guna, yeah, rail strike at the weekend, which is why anybody that's an Arsenal member, you're going to be getting emails daily. It seems like Arsenal can't give away these tickets. Rail strikes at the weekend, very difficult to get to the games unless you drive, of course. So they seem desperate to get rid of the tickets. So we'll have to see. People, thank you very much for tuning in. We've been on for an hour. I'm out of it. Kyle said Ronaldo is training with Madrid. Let me just type that in because that is insane if that is the case. I'm sure they would allow him to train, but is Ronaldo training with Real Madrid? I mean, I'm trying to see it here on Twitter. Cristiano Ronaldo. Did not train with the budget. No, maybe he is. I can't see it there anyway. But listen, thank you very much for tuning in, people. Really appreciate your support as always. Hit the like button on the way out. And I will see you all 6:45 tonight. France against Morocco. And it's going to be an epic one. Let's see who plays against Argentina in the final. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. See you all soon, people. Bless.